Are you ready? Hi, Adeline.
Hi, Lizzie.
Thank you for joining us from London. Adeline is my wonderful and talented co teacher. We teach sometimes in London restorative yoga, and we're doing a retreat together in Spain next year that we're so excited about. So, I read something you wrote recently, Adeline, and I thought we could talk about it a little bit today. You talked about the concept of me time and very specifically, how to stay calm as a yoga teacher in London, which are sort of opposite things. Year after year, you've been teaching for more than a decade. Yeah?
I know.
So, and what do you mean by scheduling me time? Tell us a little bit about your tricks. How do you do it?
So it started when friends, colleagues, and students would come up to me and say, "Oh, you look well and you look rested." And I often look at the mirror and think, like, okay, what am I doing right or what am I doing wrong? And how do I recognize that I am rested or not? And one of the things I find that would help me recognize is especially when I feel that I'm a little short, when I
Mm-hmm.
feel easily agitated, or probably I'm just simply something that's in my head is just playing. This is not the best of me. I'm not being myself. And that's where I know that my rest barometer. So if there is a measurement, I have a rest barometer
Mm-hmm.
falling short and I haven't probably got enough rest or
Mm-hmm.
not gotten enough me time, I call it me time, where I could top up and recharge. So it is demanding. I empathize. I'm a yoga teacher. I empathize with other yoga teachers. It is demanding to juggle between giving to your students,
Yeah.
giving to yourself, giving to your family and people around you. And I'm saying it's not an easy task because it's a very emotional support thing that we are offering our students and people around us. Um, yeah, more so than just a physical
Mm-hmm.
thing that you need to get into the studio to teach. Um, so,
Yeah,
yeah,
I see it definitely with our students come to us because they're stressed out and they want restorative yoga. And part of why they're stressed is living in big cities and the demands and the pace. And the thing is, it's so funny is we live in the same we live in the same soup. So we're also susceptible. It's not that we live on a mountaintop and say Om all the time and then we descend down to teach our classes. It's like we're right there in it.
yeah, we're in the same cooking pot.
Yeah. So, what do you mean by scheduling me time? Is this something for you? Is it like once a week? Is it once a month? Is it a yearly retreat? How do you think about it?
It takes quite a number of years for me to establish what's my tempo.
Mm-hmm.
So, one other thing is to allow myself to have pitfalls. So there were pitfalls every now and then for myself where I feel that I've surpassed my threshold. Um, and recognizing, being able to recognize when is my pitfall, when do I fall short
Yeah.
is important. So once I recognize, of course, I need to know what to do next. But how I have been managing it now is I do have my sustainable stillness practice, meditation practice, especially restorative yoga, which help me recharge and sometimes top up if I need, if I know I have a demanding week ahead or a retreat ahead, teacher training ahead. I would top up my rest, top up my restorative practice
Mm-hmm.
week before even,
Mm-hmm.
so that I have a bigger space and container for me to move on through the week where I might fall short of some restorative practice along the way. And when I return from my big week, then I would again top up and recharge my reservoir. Yeah.
So, what's your goal? Are you trying to do something every day to be still? What's your kind of set point?
That's a daily maintenance. That's
Mm-hmm.
daily hygiene that I need to maintain. So there is a rest hygiene on a daily basis. Yeah. So I do have my restorative practice every day. During my cycle, for example, I would probably schedule a full restorative practice for 2 days before, right up through the whole week, and on a daily basis when I'm out of my cycle, it would probably be at least 2 restorative poses. As it at least 2, it really depends on when I recognize that my energy level is a little low. It might be 3. And when I say 3 restorative poses, typically it would take me at least 1 hour, 1.5 hours. Yeah, for the
something I hear students say, which drives me crazy. I wonder if you ever hear this. Someone says, "Oh, well, if I take a nap, then I can't sleep at night," or the idea that doing restorative, as if, because what I believe, what I experience, I don't know about you, is that I'm walking around always at a kind of deficit of rest. So if I take a nap, that's just getting me back up towards, but it's not that, oh, then I don't need to sleep tonight.
Rest and sleep are distinctively different things that's measurable. Literally, if you plot things on the body, heart rate and brainwave especially, they are distinctively different, and we need both. We need our sufficient quality rest. It's not just quantity, but quality rest. And also sufficient sleep hours. Like literally, if someone has a sleep deficit, they do need to top up their sleep. Otherwise, they keep falling asleep in their restorative poses as well. So yeah, I agree that we need both. Yeah.
So what else can you tell us? Do you do a personal retreat every year by yourself? Do you go somewhere and get still without your sweet husband and your house to take care of? Or how do you think of it?
Recognize over the years that he practiced off the mat a lot. So we both over the years recognize that we need our own personal space. And this is one thing that I emphasize a lot in my retreats to my students, that when you go on a retreat, you're really resetting, like a reset button, resetting your own personal rhythm. And every person has a unique rhythm, a microsecond sooner or later than the next person, but it's a unique rhythm where you're not adhered to another person's schedule, when you need to meet a friend for a cup of tea, when you need to have dinner prepared, or when you need to do your grocery shopping. So when you're completely supported and held in a space, especially in a retreat setting, that's where I could be completely surrendering to my rhythm. I'm not saying that forever and ever you're going to be in a retreat place, secluded and not have all this responsibility, which is humanly. But having the retreat every so often, at least once a year, I would say, if not twice, allows you to recognize what's your unique rhythm.
I agree. And I think what I experience is there's certain accelerators. So I like to say that when you practice yoga at home, for example, it's an accelerator. The work is more dramatic and the transformation is more powerful when you're by yourself. So you could say, even 20 minutes of practice at home, focused in silence on your own mat, is maybe equal to going to a whole class in terms of, your time management. So it can be really effective even in smaller doses. And I feel like that about a retreat as well. Going to a retreat is an accelerator of your practice and of your inner transformation and of the kind of discoveries we're all looking for in yoga, that when I go into that space, it's only maybe 5-6 days, but I come back and I'm already in a completely different space.
Exactly. I totally agree with you. That's why we are teaching together. And I really appreciate, I know you came up with the title Moving into Stillness for our next retreat in Spain. And I particularly like the word stillness in it, because stillness, just looking at that word, feels spacious to me.
Yes.
that stillness and silence is really what makes you experience space, which space is not something tangible, but something that you experience. So, yeah, I'm really hoping to be able to offer that experience with you, with the group of students we'll be leading next year.
Okay, so as we close, Adeline, do you have any kind of practices for us or some kind of practical tips, anything we can implement today?
Yeah, immediate short-term plan.
Yes.
Yeah, we have a medium-term, long-term plan for the retreat, for everyone to go on a retreat every year. But immediately, what I would say that worked for myself, and I hope it would work for you too, or the students who are listening, colleagues who are listening, is first to establish a centering practice, restorative practice, your meditation, something that could restore your centeredness. And secondly is to recognize your personal threshold. When do you fall short and start to get angry and agitated? And recognizing that you could essentially pick up signals when it's about when you're hitting the threshold, coming close at least. And finally, to schedule in regular recharge and top up kind of rest time, where you have that barometer to tell you when, and then have a strategy to top up, have a strategy to recharge, short term, medium term, long term.
I love it, Adeline. Yeah, I think that's so valuable, the idea of the threshold and noticing, oh, I just said something in a way I didn't like. I just reacted in a way. I notice, interestingly enough, it's not as easy for me to notice it with my partner, but with strangers is when I start to notice it. When I'm rude to somebody at a checkout counter at the shop, or on a train, someone does something and then I get exasperated with a complete stranger in an interaction. And then I think, oh, this might not be about them. This might be, if it happens, 2 or 3 times in a week, and then I think, what's going on?
So, Lizzie, how do you establish a centering practice? What's your centering tip? Maybe share.
My tip is to rewire the idea of, let's take an example of, I want to do one restorative pose every day for 20 minutes. So that's my kind of personal minimum goal. So anything above that is a win, but at least one pose. So what I've been playing with is reframing it as an obligation or as a commitment. I better do my restore, and try to think of it a bit more as a reward, and a little bit even like a game. So before we got on, Adeline and I had an appointment to speak at 11, and I knew I wanted to wash my hair. And so at 10 o'clock, I got in the shower, and then I was thinking, okay, but I actually got in the bathtub and I was reading a little, and then I thought, okay, I better get out because I want to definitely do my 20 minute of Shavasana before 11 o'clock. So I sort of pick these goals or these games in my mind, or like before yesterday, for example, I cooked rice for lunch, and then I have this method where I cook it and then I let it sit. And so I cooked it, and as it was sitting, it needs to sit for maybe 10 or 15 minutes, I said, okay, now I'm going to go do my restorative pose. So I know that after my Shavasana, I'm going to come out and my lunch will be ready. And, so it's like I trick myself a little. I play these little reward games and this little kind of making the Shavasana a part of my day, letting it fit in as a part of my rhythm.
Wow, that's very practical.
But that's how I am, and I don't do it. I mean, some people are so structured about, I get up at 7 a.m. I have a wonderful friend, he does his meditation every day at 6:30 in the morning. And it's just, he gets up, he's very kind of structured in his, and I am not like that. Maybe I'm hoping when I get older, when I finally grow up, it will come. But I right now find that my days are wandering, and And as you said, in terms of honoring your rhythm, like I was just teaching very intensely a teacher training in Holland, and I got back, and the first day back was a national holiday, so I spent time with my husband going hiking and doing da-da-da, but it was with friends, and then we went out for a drink with some other friends, so it wasn't a very kind of me time resting day. So then the next day, I gave myself just kind of a blank day, just really like nothing has to be accomplished today, nothing, because I had been working all weekend.
Yeah.
So I think, we need to be a little bit guarding of that space for rest, because it's so easy, especially, we as yoga teachers often work at times when other people aren't working, but other professions have it as well. Or I know even mothers, it's like, well, when are you? I have this wonderful friend who said when she had her first baby, the first Sunday after they brought the baby home, she was like, yeah, but how can you be crying? It's Sunday morning. Like, I need Sunday off. I can handle everything, but I need Sunday off. So really fighting to create these bubbles, these air bubbles for ourselves, where we say, today is my time off, this hour, this 20 minutes, this day, because it's so easy nowadays really to work all the time, and to lose that boundary for, it's like a sacred space we have to really hold for ourselves and say, like, no, I need this. And it's not just, it's a lot of I, but I deeply see that I have to, only when you truly love yourself can you love anyone else. Only when you find peace here can you share peace or act with peace or act even as a human being out in the world. And so it doesn't start, in my experience, in my life, it doesn't start from the other. It doesn't start by me going out and saying, I want to be a good person in the world. It's like, I need to feel as though I am a good person, and then it just shines out. So, thank you so much, Adeline, for joining me.
Be really protective over our me time.
Exactly. I love that what you wrote on your blog. Tell us your website. Tell us where we can find out more about you on the internet.
Yes, my website is www.adelinecheong.com.
Okay, and I'm LizzieLassiter.com. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook every single day. And our retreat, I'll put it up here below on the screen. It's LizzieLassiter.com/Spain 2017. And I really hope you'll join us in the sun for our Moving into Stillness retreat. It's going to be great fun. Okay, namaste.
Thank you. Namaste.
Bye.
Bye.